Marion Böker, independent expert for human rights. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for calling me.
Thank you. Dear Marion, I would like to talk to you about the situation of Kurdish leader Mr. Abdullah Öcalan. But first, I know that you have worked on Yezidi's report to the United Nations. Can you first give us some information about this report, but very shortly, very briefly, please?
Yeah, very brief. The Iraqi state report to the treaty body, which is dealing with women's human rights, CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Discrimination Against Women, will have a preparatory meeting in February 24th, 28th in Geneva. And here I was able to call together some Yazidi NGOs and write this report with them for this pre-session meeting when the CEDAW committee will then draft some very updated questions to the Iraqi state. And in October, there will be their main session. And I hope that together with Taj from Shengal in Iraq and J, YG, it is the Free Women of Free Yazidi Women in Rojava. Sorry, but this organization they joined, and the Women's Council of Yazidi Women in Germany, and this is a joint report, and there were interlinked remarks with some reference to the attacks of Turkish forces, militias, which contain even some former IS fighters or Daesh fighters, as the Yazidi women recognized in the Kurdish region of Shengal in Iraq, but also the same happened in Syria, and there are interlinks because the Yazidi women have been safeguarded by Rojava in 2014, and they are living some in Rojava and the northeast Syria. So very soon, the next year, the Syrian Arab Republic will be before the same treaty body in Geneva and checked about women's human rights. So I hope after some talks with Congrasta and other organizations from northeast Syria that we will then have another report. But in this report about Iraq, there are some interlinks references to the situation in Syria now and the attacks of Turkey against Kurdish Yazidi women wherever, in Iraq, in Turkey, in northeast Syria. So we are very keen to hear what the CEDAW committee will do with this, our recommendations, if they put this forward to the state of Iraq for the main meeting in October, where we will join. But then to northeast Syria, my concerns are very, very huge, and I had some meetings with some women of the universities and other women's organizations in Congrasta, and I hope that, well, the difficult situation can find a solution, democratic solution.
Thank you, dear Marion. Another issue, as I mentioned, Kurdish leader Mr. Öcalan has been visited by DEM party representatives, and Mr. Öcalan's message was very clear and to the point. He said, if the ground is prepared, I have the enough power to bring conflict to the peaceful negotiations table. So how do you evaluate this message? How important is that? How should we read it? Very shortly, please, because as you know, the Kurds are on the peaceful side. And 2013, 2015, there was peace negotiations between Kurdish movement and Turkey, but Turkey was the side that make the table upside down. So in this case, how do you see the Öcalan's message, how important it is?
Well, I am not very sure how he can lead peace negotiations or participate in when he's still in prison. So I think it's better when he is released, and it might even threaten him announcing something like this, and Turkey might find some measures to create obstacles that he will participate. I'm not sure. If he can speak from the prison, he can give advice to a kind of delegation for peace negotiations.
Thank you. So basically, what would you like to say about the democratic system in Rojava? The Syrian democratic forces are protecting and defending this democratic system. as you know. So, and this system is under attack and a threat of occupation by Turkish state right now. So, why Turkey attacking to the Kurds first of all, and why is NATO still silent in the frame of the Öcalan's ideas that they come from? They find their life in Rojava. Very shortly, please, this one as well, if you can answer.
Well, I think the model in Rojava of democratic governance was the parity in all decision-making positions, was the participation of women, was their ideas even to enshrine in these quotas Arab women, all kind of minorities, and how they have established their model under even all these threats shows it's a model for not only Rojava. And even in this report on the Yazidi system, because the Etage in Shengal has also copied this system, is that it should be a model in Iraq also for democracy, could be in Turkey. And under the last general recommendation of CEDAW, the Women's Rights Treaty Body Committee, on parity, that all decision-making positions must be led by 50% women, 50% men by parity. It means that here we have the only very rare best practice. But why is Turkey attacking? First of all, their occupation should be established, should be increased or extended, I think, of the northern part of Syria, which they have done since a couple of years ago. Then they want to continue their attacks, and they are cooperating with former Daesh forces. This is what I've heard from many sources. And also, I think they want to defeat a system which they don't like, because Turkey, as to my information, has an agreement on different issues, but also for the future vision in the region with Iran and Iraq, as a sheet from Iraq, to create a new system which is more Islamistic. So they don't want to see women in power. They don't want to see democracy in that way. Rojava has established it. So that's what they fight for. And well, I think also they want to give the now want to be leader of Syria support in a way that he or his followers can establish their Islamistic vision. Because sometimes he's saying that he wants democracy, he wants to allow women equality, let everyone participate, but some of his followers contradict his statements absolutely 100% by saying no women should be participate in public position, etc., etc. So there's a weird situation, and I don't think that a former IS or Al-Qaeda fighter is a person who can be a democratic leader. But Turkey seems to stand on his side or the side of the former IS forces or another system which would mess up the world.
Thank you, Marion. Also, Turkey's support to jihadist groups such as HTS and SNA still continues, and these groups are threatening the Rojava and still continue their genocides as well. So, the international reaction against this Turkey support to jihadist groups is, do you think, is it enough? Do you think this reaction is sufficient enough, and the international powers on Syria are still not in silence, but they just doing the statements of according to their own benefits. But the Kurds are in there as well. Yazidis are in there. Christians are in there. So lots of different minorities are in there as well. Do you think this international reaction is enough? What's happening in Syria and in Rojava as well? Very shortly, please, that one.
No, not at all. I mean, you asked before, NATO never ever said something about the many last years. We have sent letters to NATO, no response. We have tried to even send letters to the Gender Equality Department of NATO for Women, Peace and Security, which is a very important section of NATO, but they never responded and never gave any response. as necessary, and also the same was the Secretary General of United Nations Security Council and other. They seem to silence, like the EU as well, about the war crimes and attacks in northeast Syria, but also in Turkey, also in especially in Iraq against the Kurdish and Yazidi minorities. And this is because they want to use Turkey for banning migrants. You know, the EU is paying a lot of money annually to Turkey to keep some migrants, not only from Syria, but in the region in Turkey. We know it is not very efficient and not according to human rights. And on the other side, I think they fear to openly confront Turkey with their own crimes, which Turkey commits against others, because then they have to suspend Turkey from NATO, has to suspend from different institutions. For example, I would wish such countries would be suspended from some UN bodies as well as from NATO temporary, as it was done in some units and institutions with Russia. So they have done it with Russia. Why not with Turkey? Why not with Iran? Why with such war crime committing countries? I don't understand, because it's in conflict with the human rights, with the peace rules, with everything. But there was a statement several times from our German foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock. She mentioned something that Turkey is doing wrong and she must talk to Turkey. But when she met the Turkish foreign minister, or Mr. Erdogan, she seemed to not talk anymore openly about these issues. There's an obstacle, and I think it is very inefficient, because they don't understand that if Daesh will take, or Iran, Iraq, and Turkey will create this kind of caliphate or Islamistic region in the Middle East, it will increase conflicts and also sweep over to Europe and other regions in the world. So they don't see that it is a threat for the whole world. So peace in Middle East will create more peace in the whole world, and vice versa.
Thank you, Marion. As you also mentioned, the situation of Öcalan, that he needs to be free to lead the peaceful negotiations. Very shortly, very briefly, why do you think Öcalan should be free, to underline that? And do you think his ideas can bring a peaceful solution to the Kurdish question as well as to the Middle East? And do you think this can be an example to the whole world as well? Very shortly, please.
Yeah, that it is an example for a democratic form of governance in gender equality and parity, I said before. But peace negotiations can't be done with somebody who is participating from inside a prison. That is unrealistic. But on the other hand, I think his punishment was at the end. So since more than a year, we are waiting that he will be released, even because of his health situation, isolation, and Turkey can't keep him any longer in prison according to rules. But as I know, he's still in prison, and this would be difficult for negotiating. But anyway, his books are there, his philosophy and ideas are there. So everyone from northeast Syria participating, even some other women from inside Syria, other regions, who like coordination with northeast Syrian ideas, might be in the peace negotiation and bring forward his ideas.
Thank you, dear Marion. Marion Böker, independent expert for human rights. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for your valuable comments.
Thank you, and let's hope that Syria goes a good path for the peace in the Middle East and the whole world.
Thank you.